All right, what's going on, YouTube? It's Drew Lefty in DV10. Coming back today with, you know what we'll call this? What am I on? I think it's episode 3. God, it's been a year since I've really done anything for the T206 journey. But there's been a lot of talk recently in my videos and just comments that have been left about scarcity list and where do you get this, etc., where are you getting these numbers from? Just, wanting to kind of know which cards are scarce in the T206 set and which cards are not. It's a lot of, probably a lot different than what you might initially think. Somebody sees like a red Ty Cobb and think, wow, Ty Cobb, that card's, it's tough. Not necessarily, no. And in fact, that's the exact opposite for that card. It's the most printed card in the set. You got to think a lot of times the cards that were the most popular players at the time, they printed more of those typically. Guys like Hal Chase has, 5 cards in the set. Ty Cobb, 4 poses. So, a little bit of unconventional wisdom. So this is going to be the top 25 most scarce cards in the set. And this isn't by any means perfect or an exact science. There's a gentleman named Scott Reeder that came up with this list many years ago based on some data, lots of data, collector input, and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of cards that I disagree with, even in the top 25. Again, not a perfect science, but a very good resource to use if you're serious about wanting to build a set and you come across these players at good prices, or ones that, if you're serious about the set, you definitely want to kind of knock out. So again, a lot of Southern Leaguers you'll see in here, some 150 only series print guys, a couple team swaps. There's some common themes, and I'll point those out as we go along. But without further ado, card number 25, J.F. Kiernan. He is a Southern Leaguer. This is an old millback. This is a pretty solid example for this card. I'm very happy with that one. Again, an old mill. I bought this many years ago. A lot of these, in fact, I bought a long time ago, and it's kind of, you can kind of tell. And what I mean by that is some of these are much lower eye appeal than what I would buy currently. I'm totally fine with Kiernan being 25. You get this one. I think this card maybe is a little underrated in terms of scarcity. I think I can move this one up and have no problem. Charles Seitz. It's actually not his name. Funny enough. Charles Seitz. PSA 3, Piedmont. Definitely want to upgrade that one day. Next up, card number 23. This is a stunner. This is the highest graded card in my set. This is a 5.5 of Dutch Jordan. Just an absolute stunner for the Atlanta Crackers. Love this card. It is such a beautiful card. Great and just incredible detail on this example. Love it. 5.5. I got to get that in a new slab. Next up, card number 22. John Titus. This is a perfect example of the scarcity list being not a perfect science. This card, more than anything, is hard to find because it's very popular. So I don't really think this is a scarce card. I could move this card into the 50s in terms of overall scarcity and be completely fine with that. This card, again, the only card featuring a mustache on a player in the entire set, so it's very popular. Lots of people who aren't collecting the whole set just like to have this card. So there's a collector out there who supposedly has several hundred, if not thousands of these. Maybe 1,000 or so of these. So kind of hard to find. Not really scarce, I would think, in terms of overall. It's a print group. Print group 2, 350 only subject. Very cool pose. I love this pose. Thank you, Brian. Happy to have that one. 25, 24, 23, 22. Card number 21. Kid Elberfeld. This is one I think should be way higher up on the list. Mine's a beauty minus that little bitty, and it's not paper loss. It's like a print defect right on his cheek there, but I'm happy with this one. This card is very tough. Kid Elberfeld traded to Washington. So he has another card in the New York with a New York pose on it in the 150 series. This card is much, much, much more scarce. I mean, this is a $1,000 card all day long. Probably even in a 1, it's hard to find under 1,000. So very scarce, 350 only card. Team swap variation. Again, I could see this card being in the top 15 or so. Next up, we got card number 20. And it is of William Otte. This is a PSA 4 Old Mill back. This card went super, super nuts a while back, and Southern Leaguers tend to do that from times. All it takes is a couple people building a set that need one all at once. And, I mean, this card shot up to, you know, when a PSA 4 Old Mill was like $1,500 at one point. And they've come way down, you know, probably $600, $700 now. But Southern Leaguers tend to do that. One gets hot, everybody starts bidding them up. Ray Ryan went through it. We saw it with Otte. So, card number 19, Cad Coles. This is, again, one I really want to upgrade. I bought this early on. It is an Old Mill. So, I'll settle for like a Piedmont 4 or something one day for Augusta. Card number 18, Doc Atkins. Again, this one I think is overrated in terms of scarcity. This one is one of those cards that's hoarded by a family member. So, and this is a very, very beautiful example. I love this card. Love this example. Baltimore players are tougher in general, but I don't think this card should be anywhere near the top 25 in actual scarcity. But it's on the list. What are we at? 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18. Card number 17, Wildfire Schulte. It's a 150 only back. He has one example of this card with a 350 Piedmont back. Just one. Probably just a total scrap error. He's a Cub. This card is very tough. I could move this card up on the list and be completely fine with that. This is a great example that my buddy Tim, we worked out an upgrade/trade on. Next up, we've got Frank Smith. I think this card is way too high on the list. It is a team swap. It's the Chicago and Boston American version instead of just the Chicago version. This is a 460 series player with a polar bear. This is an ugly example. I need to upgrade this one. Again, I think this card way too high on the scarcity list. I see this card all day long, numerous backs. You see it all over the place. This card is tough, no doubt about it. Red Ames, hands at chest. It's a 150 only player. Print group 1. Very, very tough. This one I definitely want to upgrade as well. I'd love to get a nice 4 of this card. Again, doing this really made me realize how much early on, because I went after a lot of these players when I decided to full-on build a set. You know, back in like 2019, I went after these players first. So, you know, my eye appeal and standards have changed a lot in 4 or 5 years. So it made me realize how much I want to go back and get some of these in better shape. Sorry about that. Ran out of storage space. Card number 14 on the scarcity list is Bill Hart. This is a decent example. A little bit of paper scratch loss there. Old Mill 3. This is a sharp card though, so decent one. Card number 13, I got to get a new slab for this. Carlos Smith. This is a tough card. I don't see this card often at all. Very popular pose with a nice pink background there. Next up, we got George Mannion. Another one I really got to upgrade. Just some weird print errors going on there. But again, I was buying these for like $120 back in the day for Old Mill SGC 3s. Under that, like 80 to $100. 120 was like an overpay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So card number 11, we're just outside the top 10. So card number 11, Bill Cranston. This is a decent copy. Probably not a 3 today. With an Old Mill back. The Southern Leaguers, they're so tough. You see they're all over the set in the top 25. And they didn't get saved. They didn't make many of them. When you were a kid in, you know, New York back in the day, and you pull a Memphis, Tennessee, Bill Cranston, I mean, you weren't really likely to keep that. You know, as if maybe you pulled a Hal Chase. So, all right, top 10 cards. Obviously, I'm missing the big 4, but number 10, we got Roy Elam. This is a really tough Southern Leaguer. Totally agree with the placement on this one. Roy Elam for Nashville. Nashville's super popular. There's been baseball in Nashville forever. If there's ever, or when there is a next expansion team for MLB, it needs to go to Nashville. That's a great example. I'd love to get an Old Mill one day, but I'm totally happy with this 3 in my set. Just a great pose. Love it. Card number 9, Ed Reagan. One I got to upgrade. Just a little bit of weird print stuff going on. Anyways, I'm being picky. This is a very tough Southern Leaguer. Totally agree with this one. Where it's at, nice Old Mill back there. What is that? 4, 5, 6, 7. Card number 8. 8th toughest card in the set. Joe Doyle. This one I'm undecided on. I really see this card quite often. This one's, I'm glad to have a polar bear, but I wish I had a better looking copy. And I'll get one day. You can see the staining all over the front. Some people like that. I've kind of moved past that. Obviously, the error card. Sneak preview. The toughest card in the set. One just sold at REA back over the summer. It was at the National. But Joe Doyle, hands over head. So it's Joe Doyle NY. Polar bear. Card number 7, 6, 5. Yep, card number 7. Carl Lundgren. This is another team swap card. It's a 150 only. Very tough card. He's a Cub. There's a version with him switched to Kansas City that is not as tough. This card. Same pose. They just airbrushed him a little bit. Cleaned it up. The Cubs card looks so much better. Very, very, very nice example of this one. I grabbed this for $99, and this card now is probably $1,500 maybe, in that range. You won't find this card under $1,000, above probably a 2. Thank you. Greg Morris Cards listed this as a buy it now for $99 back in like 2021, and I grabbed it. And they honored it, so that was awesome. Card number 6. So these next 2, 520 is a complete set. 524 is a complete master set. These kind of the first big attainable cards, I would say, and they're getting up there where they're not. But this is Ray Demmett, St. Louis. So obviously the big draw here is the STL instead of the NY. These only came in polar bear back, so they're not any tougher than any other polar bear back. In fact, there are many numerous polar bear back combos that are tougher, but getting this card at all, you got to get it in a polar bear. Most of these are locked up in sets, and these cards went on an insane run a while back. They've cooled down quite a bit, but you know, this is a $3,000 or $4,000 card all day long in this shape, easily. And I think as the set becomes more popular and more people build sets, this card's only going to go up. They don't come up very often. When they do, they just seem to go more and more expensive. Card number 5. So of the 2 polar bears, this is the tougher one of the 2 of the polar bear exclusive guys. This is Bill O'Hara. This is a 1.5. Again, I don't really ever feel the need to upgrade those 2 cards. I'm happy with these in my set, mostly because I don't want to spend, you know, $5,000 or $6,000 on a 2, and I've got a presentable 1 and a 1.5. Sharp card, just a big folded crease down the middle, but still pretty good looking example. I can totally live with this. So the top 4 cards, and I'll just ramble on a bit. So 520 is a complete set for most collectors considering. So card number 4 would be the Maggie, Sherry Maggie, M-A-G-I-E. There's a corrected version, M-A-G-E-E. I'll put an image of the uncorrected here. So that's the 4th toughest card in the set. You probably won't find one for, you know, 10 to 12K for a really bad beater example. Card number 3, Eddie Plank. One of the most beautiful looking Hall of Famers in the set. There's a ton of speculation why he wasn't more widely included, or why his cards were pulled and why they're scarce. But Eddie Plank, card number 3. Here comes the big shocker. Honus Wagner is number 2. It's the 2nd most scarce card in the set. Again, similar to Plank. Don't really know why it was pulled from production. Some people say he didn't agree with the tobacco industry and that sort of thing, but he's on cigar wrappers and other issues for tobacco. He's in caramel sets, so probably a money thing. That's kind of what I believe makes the most sense. And then card number 1 is, of course, Joe Doyle. Slow Joe Doyle, New York National. That is the toughest card in the set. I think there's like 9 known. Yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you're serious about the set, you come across some of these guys, definitely worth picking up. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Peace out.